It's Wednesday and we're back with another episode of Bothered. Thank you so much for all of your support. Please like, subscribe, follow. Fuck, I always forget all of them. Anyways, thanks for listening. It means a lot to me. So much. I hope you enjoy this episode. Hello, it's me, Julie Kim. Welcome to Bothered, my little podcast about being bothered. Every week I share short stories.
Living like this, I might lose it.
They're mostly real situations that have happened to me. You wouldn't believe some of them. Or maybe you would. Maybe you can relate.
Living like this, I might lose it.
This episode might be a little shorter than others. I mean, it's not a long story, and it's mainly me being weird and maybe unreasonable and talking about what bothers me from the point of view of the other party, but also myself, because, you know, life is confusing and complicated, and aren't we all a little bit conflicted if we're being honest with ourselves? God, that's very deep for this story about a lost dog. Okay, I was gonna say I love dogs. I don't love dogs. I have loved my dogs that I had before, and unfortunately I had to put them down. I had not at the same time. I put my two dogs that I had for a long time down in the last few years, and this story happens when I first got my first dog in Toronto. She was just a puppy and for some reason had to stay overnight at the vet for, maybe it's when she was spayed or neutered. Which one is the girl one? Anyways, she became infertile and it cost me money. I don't know why I said it like that. Anyways, I drove my dog to the vet. And it was my first night off from being a dog owner, which sounds silly, but when you live in a condo or an apartment building, I mean, it is intensive to be a dog owner unless you let it shit and pee in the condo, like on a mat or whatever. And I certainly did not. I mean, at one point, I think I calculated that it's several days out of the year that a condo or apartment owner spends walking their dog down the hall, waiting for the elevator, in the elevator, leaving the elevator and going outside to walk their dogs. This all in comparison to having, say, a home where you let your dog out to pee or poo in the backyard. Not that people do that all of the time, but God, wouldn't that be nice to have an option? But I did not have that option. And so I was already burnt out being a new dog owner, but loving it so much. I loved my first dog, Charlie. She was a little Jack Russell Terrier, the cutest thing you'd ever did see. Oh my God. Anyways, I had my first night off and I was driving in the streets of Toronto back to my place. And what do I see on the street? Just crossing the road randomly, a dog, a large fucking dog, a large, and I mean large, poodle. Like its head came up to probably my chest area. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but it was a large dog just walking around and nobody else was around. There were no cars. I feared that there would be cars and this dog would be hit. The dog wasn't moving towards a home. It was just kind of walking randomly. So I took the dog. I put it in my two-seater car. I didn't know what the hell I was going to do. I took the dog. Well, first, wait, I stopped. I looked at the dog. I looked to see if there was a tag, and there was a tag, but it didn't have a phone number on it. It just had like some numbers. It was not data that I could do anything with. So I took the dog and I brought it back to my home. And on this only and first dog-free night where I could have just been chilling, but that's a lie. I never would have been chilling. I would have been like studying or doing something or making myself busy to feel significant and validate my existence, because that's how I have been. I don't really do that as much anymore, especially after having a kid. Anyways, I digress a lot. I spent a big part of that night trying to find this dog's owner. So I read the thing, and I think that the tag on the dog only like said like the name of the vet and an ID that I think maybe like corresponded to a chip or something. And I called around like the SPCA shelters, etc. And I tried to find out whose dog this was. And I left my info about this dog in multiple places. Nobody responded. Nobody called. Nobody had reported a lost or missing dog. And at the end of the night, it was clear I was going to take the dog out, and I fed the dog. I like took it to the dog store and I said, what does this kind eat? And I fed it and I gave it cookies and stuff, and then it slept in my place. And I would love to say that we had a beautiful little bond, but we did not. This is a giant poodle. It was brown, like a tan bag. It was, I don't know. I mean, my husband once told me that poodles are like the smartest dog, and I was like, why do they look so stupid then? I know, I'm sorry. I'm just saying what I said before. I'm not saying that I really meant it, but they're really not my favorite kind of dog, especially the ones that are like shaved, like when their bodies are shaved or part of their heads or ears are shaved. I think it's stupid. It looks stupid. I'm sorry. And I don't mean that like as a judgment on the dog overall, because honestly, it's a reflection of the owners. I had no contempt for this dog. I felt bad for this dog that it was missing, but I was nice to this dog that I was not attracted to. We didn't bond at all. The dog just kind of sat there and looked at me, and I was like, yeah, I'm trying. And I was as nice to it as I could have been, and I kept it safe and warm. And I would say for 12 hours, I owned that dog. And in the morning, I got a phone call from somebody saying that, oh, the owner had noticed that the dog was missing. 4 hours after I picked it up, the owner was like someone who lived kind of in the area, which is like Midtown Toronto, and has small kids. And there was a nanny, and the dog must have gotten out. I don't know. Either way, they didn't notice the dog was fucking gone. And the woman called them, and they're like, can we give her your number? And I'm like, yes, for sure. So this woman calls me. She's very, very frazzled. Her name, I think, was Jackie Kennedy, which is just kind of funny, right? Like a fancy lady in a fancy area with a nanny who lost her dog and didn't realize it was missing for 4 fucking hours. And even when she noticed it was missing, did not take all measures to find the dog, but just kind of, I guess, waited till the morning. Anything could have happened to the dog. Thank God I found that dog. That dog could have been run over or kidnapped or raped. I don't know if that happens to dogs. We should take that out. But something could have happened to that dog. This woman calls me and she's just like, oh yeah, thanks. Thanks for keeping my dog. Where do you live? And I was like, yes, yeah, this was my only night off. Now, I don't know. I wasn't doing this for thanks, but like, I just thought she might be interested in the fact that I had sacrificed my only night off from being my own dog mother for her dog. But no, she just like she came over and she met me in the lobby, and then she kind of like barely looked at her dog. She was like, oh, thanks so much. And then she gave me a bag of cookies, and she was gone. It was a bag of cookies for my dog, which I guess was a little bit considerate. But my dog wasn't there. I would have liked cookies for myself. That was also a very small gift. And I'm just thinking, like, if anybody saved, I loved my dogs so much. If anybody saved my dog, I would have, oh my God, I can't even imagine. I would give them, I would be so grateful. I would go overboard, and maybe that's my issue. I overcompensate sometimes. And was I doing this for thanks? No. But if you were going to thank me of something, maybe cookies for me, maybe $500 cash would have been nice. But no, just a little bag of basic dog cookies. They were not boutique dog cookies. They were not made by hand. They were not decorated. They were just whatever, biscuits of the dog part. I think overall that I was and remain, although I really should think about how much I should be bothered by this. She didn't notice that her dog was missing for 4 hours, although it's not just on her. She has a family, a nanny, probably a husband that could have done something about it. Why is she the subject of my ire? Because she's the one that I dealt with. Also, she's a fancy lady who was too busy to care about her dog. Didn't even ask about the dog. How was the dog? Oh my God, thank God you're okay. Didn't talk to the dog like I would have done, I guess. Oh my God, are you all right? I missed you so much. I'm so sorry. Fucking none of that. Didn't ask how the dog was. Didn't stay a second to chat. Not that I like a chat. I don't give a shit about that. But I think it was the basic sort of air of entitlement. Like, I don't fucking work for you, lady. I'm not of this, like, an employee of the city. Do you know what I mean? I didn't have to do any of this. And she was like, thank God. And then she gave me the cookies and then she was gone. Okay, I think that's what I didn't like. And I'm also, lastly, a little bit annoyed at myself. I should not be doing things for thanks or $500 cash, which again, I think would be the appropriate reward for this. But I was expecting at least something. And that is my problem, I think. And I have stopped doing this so much, where I expect other people to act commensurate to what I would have done or how I project that they should feel. This is how grateful they would feel. This is how much my lost dog would mean to me and cost me in dollars. Again, $500 Canadian cash. I shouldn't do that. I did a good deed. And that should be enough. I'm glad the dog is alive. I guess whatever the dog's name was, I never even found out the dog's name. She never told me. I didn't ask, I don't think. Or maybe I didn't know and I forget because it was a poodle. I mean, if it was a different kind of dog, I would have loved if it was like a cute Eskimo dog or another Jack Russell Terrier, although that would have felt like cheating a little bit. There are lots of dogs I would like to get to know. I fucking love a golden retriever and a lab. There's lots of those in Ontario. And one day we might get one of those. I think they're very nice, friendly dogs. Anyways, I did a nice thing. I wanted a little bit more remorse from that woman and a little bit more of a normal response that was not entitled, but I didn't get it. And that bothers me about me, that I thought I should have done that. And again, I think I would act different this time. I think next time I would not pick up a stray dog. I really want to hear from all of you about this because this is one where I'm particularly conflicted about my feelings on this. I mean, is it enough that I did a good thing? Does it matter that this woman acted kind of like an uptight who wasn't really grateful or that she lost her dog? Is the most important thing that the dog was found? I don't know. Tell me, would you have even taken the dog in the first place? Or would you have just like called animal control and just said, there's a dog in this area? What would you have done? Because I have like a 1% resentment about this. I mean, mostly not. I'm glad the dog is okay. And dogs are amazing, except this one was a little weird. But like most of the time, of course, we care about animals and their well-being. What would you have done? Thanks again for listening or watching. This is also a video podcast in case you have not tried looking at me as I talk to you. We're on all the platforms. Please email me with your stories or any feedback if you like. I read and reply to everyone because this podcast is not that big yet. Bothered at juliekimcomedy.com. The blog format is juliekimcomedy.com/podcast. I hope you have a lovely week and we'll be back next Wednesday. Ta-ta.
Living like this, I might lose it. Living like this, I might lose it.